Blood is out on Netflix now, and it stars Rosamund Pike as Marla Grayson, who is hired by the court to be a legal guardian for elderly people who are ordered by a doctor to be looked after. The problem is that Marla is actually a crooked legal guardian stealing all their savings. When her next client ends up being somebody who has ties to the Russian mob, things get a little bit complicated for her and her assistant. I've heard some good early buzz about this movie, and that's really what got me looking forward to this movie. And for the most part, I enjoyed it. This is one of the better Netflix films. This isn't perfect or anything. I still think Netflix has a bit of a ways to go in terms of trying to deliver good movies, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. Every once in a while, they'll give us a good one, like The Irishman or Roma, but these are the types of movies that I think Netflix should be making. They always just seem to cater to the casual audiences, and I don't know why. But this is definitely a movie that I think everybody can enjoy. I really liked Rosamund Pike in this movie. I don't think it's her best performance. Her best performance, I still believe, is Gone Girl, but she is electric in this movie. Same with Itza Gonzalez. This is the best I've seen Itza Gonzalez. Peter Dinklage as a Russian mobster, I thought was great. A perfect casting. Completely sold it, completely owned it. The thing that I love about this movie is that it really paints these characters off to be people who are trying to do good, helping older people out and elderly people out, when in reality, they're running this huge scam. So it's like, you like them, but you don't like them. You don't necessarily agree with what they're doing. You know what they're doing is bad. And you know what they're doing is bad once they get mixed up with the Russian mafia, and once more things start to get revealed, you're just like, oh, I know what they're in for now. And I gotta say, this movie did a very good job at keeping me on the edge of my seat throughout the entire movie. There's a tonal shift in the second half, which I'll get to in a little bit. For the most part, this movie is a riveting, edge-of-your-seat type of thriller. Yes, this is a thriller. It had me guessing, it had a lot of twists and turns, and a lot of twists and turns that I think worked in service of the story. It kept me engaged, it kept me intrigued for most of the movie, and I was really having a good time trying to guess what was going to happen next and how this whole situation was going to play out. Now, the second half of the movie, though, is completely different from the first half. I mean, you still have the legal guardian stuff, but it seemed like the first half of the movie was really setting that whole thing up to be the basis of the movie, when in actuality, it's really the first half, and then there's schemes and games and mind tricks being played in the second half, mostly because of the Russian mob. I think that there was a tonal shift there, because it went from like this corrupt legal proceedings drama type of movie, if you want to call it that, to like this dark, gritty thriller. And I think for the most part it worked, but it was just such a sudden shift that I feel like the movie didn't have enough time to breathe necessarily as it was shifting into that second half of the movie. I still enjoyed it. I still think it was a nice switch up from the first half. It's just how we got to that tonal shift, it didn't really work for me. And the mob stuff really just feels all too familiar. It feels like the same things that we've seen in many movies before, and that was kind of a bummer for me. The way the movie was playing out and the way that it shifted into the second half, I thought it was gonna have a little bit more originality in that mob plotline, but there are specific reveals where I was like, okay, that is smart. We don't really see that. So there is a little bit of freshness within that storyline, but not enough for me to fully grasp onto it, even though I was still intrigued in the second half, even though I still did like the movie and it still kept me on the edge of my seat. I just felt like there wasn't enough that was fresh or original about the second half. This is definitely a movie that I would recommend seeing. It's by far one of the better Netflix movies. Rosamund Pike does a really good job. I love the commentary where it's like, yeah, maybe they're actually doing good, but really they're just being assholes and they're not doing good. I like how it feels like it's I don't want to say two different movies, but two different tones in the first half and the second half. I just needed a little bit more of a segue into that tonal shift, and some of the Russian mob elements of the story never felt fresh or original, despite there being some originality in it. It just wasn't enough for me. With that being said, though, I definitely cared a lot about I Care a Lot. Well, I'm gonna say I will care enough to give I Care a Lot a full bucket of popcorn. Guys, what did you think of I Care a Lot? I hope you care a lot when you watch this movie, because I definitely cared a lot. If I didn't care a lot, I would definitely tell you that I didn't care a lot. Whatever it may be, drop me some feedback as to what you thought of I Care a Lot in the comment section below. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.